We're back!
Yes.
So, hello guys! We're back with another vlog, and this vlog will be a little bit different because it will be another 2-in-1 2-in-1 vlog with Maro. So, a lot of you may ask what makes it different. So, it will be a challenge. At the same time, we'll be explaining to you how to start or
Register your own small business here in the Philippines.
yeah, so how to start your own business and register your small business, especially online sellers like us in the Philippines. It's how to legalize it. So all throughout this video, we'll be speaking in English and we will be telling you how we registered our own business. It will be helpful for you guys as well, especially the ones who live here in the Philippines and want to start their own online business. All throughout this video, we'll be speaking in English. There will be no Tagalog, as in zero, because we've noticed that we already have some viewers who are from another country, who are foreigners, and it would be easier for us instead of let's start. Rowie will be the one explaining how the process works, and I'll be telling you how we started, how we came up with the idea, how we came up with the name, what is our concept, and when did we start, and all those things. So let's start with how we started. Since I mentioned that I will be the one who will explain how we came up with the idea, came up with the name, how we started, and what's our concept. So let's start with the name. So our name, the name of our business is TNT Delights. That's short for Taz and Trixie's Delights. So I think you guys know, if you've been watching our past vlogs, that Taz and Trixie is the name of our dogs, and they have been with us. Well, of course, Taz has been with me for 8 years and Trixie has been with us for 7 months. As I think it would be nice to name it after them, since it's a bit catchy, TNT Delights, and it's instead of putting Maui and Rowie Maro together, it doesn't work that way. It's not Maro Delights. It doesn't sound good. So we started on June 26. So as we mentioned, we came home from Dubai on March 24th. We took the last flight going here to the Philippines since closed the airport due to the pandemic. So since we already had this plan that we were going home on May, we decided to move our schedule a bit earlier, so to be with our family, especially during the pandemic. So we decided to go home, and then we went to Rowie's hometown, and then we had a little vacation there, staycation for 3 weeks. Then when we came back, we decided to, since it's not only it's in the trend, but it would help us to save up or earn money. Yeah, so we came up with this business. We basically sell baked goods. So gathered a bunch of recipes from my school, and I asked some friends who are good in baking, and we decided to come up with bread, cookies, and all those stuff. So we had our business registered. As you can see, we framed it because we're very proud. So it says here TNT Delights Bakery, and it's city or municipality, because Roy will be explaining how much it costed us to come up with these documents, and we also have our BIR certificate here. So more on that later. So it says here TNT Delights Bakery, City, Municipality. We are located in Muntinlupa. So it says here City of Muntinlupa, NCR 4th District, NCR National Capital Region. So It says here it's a business name registered in this office, all those stuff. And we already talked about under what name it will be. And since I'm the one who lives here in Alabang, Muntinlupa, we decided to put it under my name. Although I'm already thinking of including Rowie in the business itself, that he will be also written here. But then that's another story. There's a lot of things to be polished by that time. So we're just continuing what we're doing now. So it says here my name, Oriel May Arzadan Ortilla, and is valid from June 26 when we started to June 26, 2025. So this year to 2025, that would be 5 years, validity of 5 years. Subject to continuing compliance with the above mentioned laws and all applicable laws in the Philippines unless voluntarily cancelled. So in testimony whereof I hereby sign this certificate of business name registration, issue the same on June 26, 2020 in the Philippines, and the QR code is here, so we covered it up, and the person who signs the certificate itself. So this certificate is not a license to engage in any kind of business and valid only at the scope indicated herein. So in short, we cannot sell our products outside of the municipality or city where we're at. So what we actually, I think it's inevitable for people to not know about us, because we have our relatives from Quezon City, we have relatives from Tarlac, we have relatives from, in short, all around the Philippines. We're registered only in the city of Muntinlupa. It doesn't necessarily say that we can only cater clients from Muntinlupa. It's more of, you cannot open another branch in another city or in another province without registering again. Did I explain that right? To be honest, you cannot control or filter who can order, because since we're an online business and we are just home based, and we deliver it to them via courier or via rider, via our personal rider, or may it be Mr. Speedy or all that stuff. So that's a thing to note for anyone who wants to open up their business, that it's not only for your city, but you can also deliver to other places. When you register to DTI, you automatically have 1 month to register for BIR. So it took us, I think, 2 to 3 weeks before we had the guts to go to BIR, because we were scared. To be honest, we were really scared that maybe they will charge us tax. The business was not that strong enough to pay tax, or all those business. So with these two certificates that I have, they didn't require us a mayor's permit and permit to operate, since we're just home based. And since we're registered in BIR, we also have this. These are official receipts issued by BIR. So you can't fake this, guys. They issue this. They put your TIN number and everything. They put your address. So in our case, since we're an online business and we don't have a place to set up our whole business. I don't know if you can see. This is an OR, official receipt, and it's written here our name and my address and my TIN number. So in our case, they used my TIN number. Okay, so for the TIN number, if I'm not mistaken, you can use this once you're employed again, but you will be under another tax code, and that's a whole other story. So as I mentioned earlier, that once you have your DTI certificate, you automatically have 1 month to register for BIR, and BIR will issue you this COR, Certificate of Registration, and it's written here that this establishment must issue receipt or invoice for each service rendered or sale of goods. So it's written here our business name, my name, and my team number, and the branch code where we issued the BIR certificate. So yes, we do issue receipts to each and everyone who orders from us, because it will be it says here that 2 to 4 years imprisonment for non-issuance of receipt or invoice. So yeah, so they can report us if we don't issue a receipt. For me, it makes sense, because when we buy in restaurants, when we have, for example, we get sick because we ate their food, they will dig into that and they will look for an OR or a receipt or anything, proof that you ate in that specific restaurant. Questions were asked by our friends who wanted to start their own business. That isn't it hard that we are now DTI registered, or was it complicated since now we are DTI and BIR registered? Personally, for me, it's the best thing we've ever done. Was it beneficial for us when we registered our business, our small business in BIR and DTI? Our clients trust us more. For me, our clients trust us more since we are legally registered, and it gave us more potential as a startup business. Was it hassle for us? Actually, no. It's easier now, I think, because now you can just search online on how to do the step-by-step, and they're very helpful actually. So for the DTI, we just did this online and paid online. That's it. Then we just printed this out and frame it. For the BIR, we have to go here. We have to go to the city where we actually registered our DTI. So since we registered at Muntinlupa City, we registered in BIR Muntinlupa. So that's very easy, and they're very helpful. Questions that we asked were answered by the people who work there. Some of you might ask, what are the requirements? How much did it cost? What's the hassle, and how long did it take? When you already register your business in BIR and DTI, you have to be very organized. So you have to be very organized, guys. So I bought this envelope, and Arowi knows me well that I really love these pens, and I love envelopes or those folders that you put paper in, or those designer things.
Jesus Christ.
I'm very organized with papers, even when I was a student, guys. So in this envelope, I'll show you what's inside. So we have our receipts. So Maui, why do you keep receipts? Was it for blah blah blah? He will explain this later. Columnar books. So in our case, we asked this guy from this BIR, what should we buy, or how many. Actually, they have a list. So later we will show you the list, or I'll put down below the list of the requirements. I think that's okay. So it would be, so actually that's why we made this video, no? To help you guys as well. So I think I have 4 columnar books. Actually, 2 columnar books, 1 journal, and 1 ledger. So I'll show you one by one, right? And here inside, we also have the forms. So we have, no, we don't need this anymore. So we have the COR. I can't show you this one. It's just stated here that it's the name of the taxpayer, which is me, issuance date, what office, registered address, and the tax type. So, here, it's here. Our tax type is individual income tax. And then, it's also written here when is our filing start date, frequency of filing, and filing due date. It's also stated here the business information details, the line of business, and what kind of tax we are in. I think we are at the 8% income tax rate. And there's a difference between those two, and Rowie will also explain that later. He's actually playing. So yeah, and we have a stamp here and everything. So I'll not show you this, guys, because I think this one's confidential. I just stick here. We have the number of the BIR. See? So we kept this so that we don't have to go there back and forth. Although it's just near our place, but we'd rather not go out, wear mask, face shield. We'd rather just stay home and call them when we need to ask questions. And they're very helpful. They're very accommodating. And we have here the requirements. So I can put this down below if you want us to help you. So I'll put this in the description later on. So additional requirements is not applicable to us since we're just a home-based business. And the book requirements is also here. So 2 columnar books, 1 general journal, and 1 general ledger. So VAT additional, since we are, I think I haven't mentioned this, we are a non-VAT business. It's also written in our receipts, so we cannot charge VAT. So some of the, I think McDonald's also does that, they charge VAT, 12% VAT, but we are non-VAT, so we cannot charge VAT. It's also stated here, late registration, and you already have a DTI and mayor's permit, but you didn't register to BIR. There's also a computation of how much they will charge you. Eventually knew that you're not registered in BIR, so they will charge you a lot, guys. So if I were you, if you're registered in DTI, you should register also in BIR, just to be safe. And it's not scary, guys. We thought it would be hard and we would be spending a lot of money with BIR, but no, they are very considerate since we are not that strong yet. And inside we also have carbon paper since our receipts is carbonless, it's just normal paper, so we have carbon paper. Fill up the form, BIR form 1901, 3 copies of this, 3 copies of each. So you have to write. So the other copies are there with them. And you also have to fill up the 1905 form. This form is for the books, so you have to register your book, guys. Later on I'll show you what's inside the books. And this one is important as well. This one is for the receipts. So we have here the BIR form 1921, wherein they issue you a bundle of receipts. If I'm not mistaken, my first issued receipts were 10. I had 10 booklets with 50 sheets per booklet, and number of copies per set would be 2. And they indicated here the serial number. So basically this is for when you want to reprint, so you will just show this to them. And each receipt, I haven't showed you, also has this smaller copy. It's here at the back. I don't know if everyone does this, but they have this one. Okay. So, but anyway, either or, you have to bring this every time you need your receipts to be printed out. And the cost of that would be up to Rowie later. You will mention that as well. So here, see, they're written here everything. And everything is official, guys. Because normally you can buy, not official receipts, you can buy cash vouchers from, I think, National Bookstore and stuff like that. I don't know what's that for. Yeah, what else is inside my magic? Here's the receipt of the printing services. So they will give you this copy, and you would also need to show this to them. This form 1906. So basically, guys, there are a lot of forms. That's why you need this magic envelope. The payment, the Xerox copy of payment and how much we pay, and the photocopy of my government issued ID. And of course, for you to compute all your sales, you can't use your own phone calculator. I mean, you can, but it would be hard. So we also bought our own calculators. So just the normal calculators that you see in national bookstores, and it's for I think for tax. I think most of the CPA students use this one. So just plus minus. You can also use your phone, but it would be hard. So let's go with the books. There are a lot of books actually, but I think when you have a bigger business, you need you need a lot more books. So let's go first with I have here 2 columnar books. A lot, you may ask, why do you need 2, or why are there, is the one for extra, or I don't know. But to answer your question, one is for sales and one is for expenses. So let's start first with sales. So when you buy this one, it's plain, okay, but you have these are all official books that were registered to BIR. So when we came there, I stamped this one by one and I put my name. I'll show you. I'll show the details, but I stamp it by hand. It's also signed by one of the unit heads. Unit head registration, or CSS. I don't know what CSS means. And it's stamped when it was signed. So you can't fake this. Have it stamped and signed by one of their officials. So this is the sales. So basically we write here everything. What's here, what's in this receipt booklet should be written here as well. And you can't afford to make mistakes here. So every time we make mistakes, what we do is we just correct and we countersign them. So we write here specifically what we sold that day or for that specific receipts, because we write here the date, particulars, sales for each column. I think this is 5 columns. This is the lowest, no? Walang 2. I think this is the lowest as far as I know. So there are 5 columns. So when I was buying this, when me and Roy were at the bookstore buying this, we were asking, what's 5, what's 6, what's 7? And then the clerk just said, it's up to you, it doesn't matter, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, we'll just get the 5 because I don't think we need the 7 or 10. And then we were correct. We just used the 5 one because it's much cheaper. And this brand of columnar book is way cheaper than because they also have this kind. They also have this kind that this hard cardboard. This one is just soft cardboard. That's why it's cheaper. So here we wrote here the date. So the first column is date. The next column would be particulars. It's a bit spacious than the others. Then we wrote here sales, total, and the OR number. So we basically I think Rowie just searched this one on YouTube. Then from there we just learned step by step on how to fill up this columnar book. So we wrote here our sales. Then for the total, we just add the first sale to the second sale, and that would be your total here. So that would be easier for us to total everything by the end of the month. So it would be easier for us, you see? So it's almost full because, yeah. And then we have the expense columnar book. This is where we cry, guys. This is where tears come out. it happens to everyone. Every startup business always have negatives in their columnar books, and don't worry about that. So same, it has been stamped and signed by one of their officials. It has the same format because I was the one who stamped this and then signed, so it's official. And we have written here date, particulars, expenses, total, and notes. Because nowadays, it's a bit hard to come up with, not really come up with receipts, but to get receipts, because some of our items were being ordered online and there are no receipts for that. So we just note here that it's online, or for example, if we depreciate some of the items we bought, for example the oven, we cannot pay that full time with what we're earning, so we just depreciate it by, for example for the oven, we depreciate it by 3 years, or depreciate it by 5 years, or if some of the, for example the rent, we only pay partial because we use our own house, and we also pay for our utilities, also partial, so we write here partial. But then we still gather receipts so that it would be enough proof that we pay for this amount of money for our utilities or for our electric bills and etc. So that's what receipts are for. So if I were you, you should keep your receipts. But for example, Shopee doesn't issue receipts. I don't think we can use the ones they put in the parcel stickers. I don't think we can use that. So we just write here online. It's I think it's understandable since hence the pandemic. We can't go outside, guys, and go buy everything in the grocery or go to this Divisoria and just buy. We might get COVID, so it's better safe, right? So we have to be careful. We have to be safe. You can do Excel for your records, but you have to do this handwritten, guys. And since I like writing, so I'm in charge of this, but sometimes I'm too lazy to write. I say, Roby, go do the sales book. I do the expense book because he doesn't want to cry with expenses. So I do the expense. So we write here everything, basically what we use for our business. So that's the expense book, from hence the name itself, expense book. So next we have the ledger book. So for ledger, we just write here, it's a 2-column, no, I think 3-column ledger. 3-column ledger book. I think that's it. There's 3. Oh, it's written here. Maximum is 24. Maximum is 24 columns for this ledger book. So we just, I took the 2-column ledger book. Since we just write the date, particulars, and total amount. So this is just a summary of what this is where the accounting terms come in, and we get help from our family members who knows more about this accounting stuff. Basically, we just know basic from our school. We write the summary of our expenses here in the ledger book, notebook. And next we have the journal. To be honest, guys, our journal is empty, but same with ledger book, it's also stamped. It's also stamped. For the journal, also stamped, but to be honest, it's empty. They say, I think for the journal, it's for just personal use, but we don't use it. And the lady who spoke with Rowie during this time was saying, I don't think you need a journal since you're an online seller. So I don't know what that means, but I bought this, and it's written in our expense book because it's not that cheap, guys. It's not just buying a notebook for your school or something. You really have to go all out with that. And to use some other details that I've missed, because he's the one who's been really studying for this kind of matter in our business. He's the one who's filing the taxes. He's the one who's doing everything he could because he's the techie guy in the relationship or in the business. So he's the one who's I'm just the one who computes and writes and everything because he doesn't like writing as well. So he's the one who just inputs in the computer and then filing the taxes, and I'm the one who reminds him that this day we will have to file this one and this one as well. So yeah, Rowie, your turn.